This is my simple yet effective home gym. I've been wanting to do a home gym in this new house ever since I moved in, and I finally took the plunge to clean out this side of the garage and make it happen. This video is sponsored by RitFit, and I will talk a little bit about their Buffalo functional trainer a little bit later in this video. About a year ago, my wife and I bought this home, and it's just your typical track home. So this is a 2-car garage. It's 20 feet by 20 feet. The left portion of this garage is where my wife parks her car, which leaves me with the right side for the home gym. To do this, I had to do a couple of things, starting with finishing the paint job that I began when I first moved in here. I ended up going with this black Locust by Behr. I just wanted like a darker charcoal look. I didn't want to go fully black in the garage, but I wanted it to be darker than just your typical white garage. So I think this looks really cool. It just gives it a nice look, especially against those lights up there, which we'll get into in a little bit. I probably should have spent a little more time on the walls, like cleaning up these joints here. But at the same time, it is a garage gym and I'm kind of cool with it not looking perfect. But overall, I think it turned out really well. Except for this side right here, I realized that I did not paint it before I started filming this video. So that's my bad. Once I finished the paint job, it was time to figure out some of these storage issues that I had. So I ended up picking up this floating Husky storage rack that just mounts to the ceiling, and I'm able to store all of the extra boxes and kind of seasonal things in our garage, and that just freed up a lot of space down here. Next, I needed some cool lighting in here, so I decided to go with these hexagon LED lights, which I guarantee you've seen in probably 99.9% of home gyms, but it's because they look really cool and they're also incredibly affordable on Amazon, so I just decided to go with these. They're pretty easy to put together. They're definitely cheap, and if you're not careful, they might break when you're trying to put them together, but overall, it was a pretty easy process. I just built it out starting on the ground to kind of get the shape and length of it, and then slowly just went up piece by piece and built it out until I was happy with the shape. So these lights run over the home gym, and then they plug into the outlet that's on the ceiling that's also used for the garage motor, and I have that plugged into an Amazon Alexa, so that way I can control the lights with my phone. I'm super happy with how these lights turned out. I think they look really cool and they're very photogenic. Once I got that lighting out of the way, it was time to figure out the mats for the actual functional trainer. So I ended up going with yet another very common home gym thing, and that's the horse stall mats from Tractor Supply Co. They're not too incredibly expensive. I think I spent a little over $300 for 5 of them. I just went to Tractor Supply, loaded them up in my truck, and then took them out and let them sit in the sun for like a day, and also sprayed them down with some pH balance cleaner. They do smell really strong like rubber. It's literally just a big rubber pad. So I would highly recommend letting these sit in the sun for at least a day or two before you bring them into your garage, because it is gonna stink up the place, but that smell will dissipate. This is 2 months later and smell is pretty much completely gone. But I'm glad I went with these because for the price, they're just incredibly rugged. By the time I had the mats down in the place ready to go, the RitFit Buffalo trainer had been delivered to my house in like a million boxes, so it was time to finally set this thing up. Let me run you through this setup real quick because it's pretty cool. This is the RitFit Buffalo multifunctional Smith machine. I wanted to be able to do every workout that I did at a commercial gym at home, and this was the best bet to do that without having to get a bunch of individual equipment. This thing has 2x3 uprights and it's made out of 14 gauge steel. Some people are a little apprehensive by that, but again, if you look at me, you can tell I am not a power lifter, so I'm never going to even near max out the weight of this thing. So this is kind of perfect for what I do as a, common lifter. Stability wise, it's great. Of course, if you really shake it around, you will notice it move a little bit, but as far as doing pull-ups and stuff, it feels super solid. On these uprights, you have the cables, which feature aluminum pulleys, so incredibly high quality there. On the same upright is where you add your J-hooks and your safety bars, so you can do your squats, you can do your chest press, whatever you need right there. And then you have behind that the Smith machine. It's just nice to have both options in case you want to bench and do squats on a Smith machine, or you want to do it just with a traditional barbell. You have the opportunity to do both. And then moving back behind that, you have the system for putting the weights on for the cable. So this is a 2-to-1 pull ratio, but essentially you load your plates on each side and then you have your cable pulleys. Now, one bit of advice, if you are going to use this system, make sure that you keep equal weight on each side of this system, because if you put a heavier plate on the right side and then a lighter plate on the left side, you're gonna notice extra drag just because it's kind of like tilted, but it's not a huge deal. I just have to make sure that I put equal weights on each side. You have a pull-up bar at the top here, a landmine attachment here, which is super helpful. This foot attachment so you can do seated rows and it has a ton of storage. So I can store my barbell right here on the left, and then also the bumper plates on the back of it. This also comes with the adjustable bench here, which has been super solid. I haven't had any complaints with it. It's very easy to use, it feels sturdy, and I'm able to just wheel it around and use it either with the functional trainer or with my dumbbells for dumbbell presses. With this setup, I can do pretty much every workout I need to. I can bench press, I can squat, I can do rows, I can do pretty much everything. I think for the price point, you get a lot of value out of it. It is very high quality. There are some things about it that I wish were a little bit better. Like there's really no options for third-party attachments, which I've seen some really cool attachments that would be very helpful for a home gym, like lateral raise attachments and leg curl attachments, but you can't really do that with this setup. And another thing would be the spacing of the holes in the uprights. They are a little bit wider than I think what you'd be used to in a commercial gym or maybe some other home gym equipment, and it makes it a little difficult to really get the settings right. So for example, when you're bench pressing, it just feels like I can't quite get the height set exactly where I want them, which is not a huge deal, but you know, when you are unracking a bar or racking it, when you have to lift up just a little bit more, or if you have to squat down a little bit more to then lift the weight up, sometimes it can feel off. So that's been the only kind of real gripe that I've had with it. So yeah, that pretty much covers the functional trainer. Now let's move on to the rest of the stuff in here. Behind the functional trainer, I put up these 2 mirrors from Amazon just to give me a bit of reference when I am doing squats or workouts. It's nice to have mirrors up there. I almost lined the entire wall with mirrors, but then I decided that that just was not necessary. So we have the RitFit trainer on the left, and then on the right side, we have pretty much everything else. So let's talk about the little rack that I have back here. This is used to just store all of the RitFit attachments. Behind that, we have the old faithful Alabama flag. I am a Crimson Tide fan until it hurts. Right now, sadly, it hurts a little more than usual. And then to the right of that, I mounted my TV, which is just an old TV that I've had laying around. And I also mounted a Vizio soundbar to this. However, I do pretty much always use this with the Apple TV, so I'm able to connect my AirPods and listen to podcasts or listen to music straight from my AirPods while watching it on the TV. And this is great because I do have a lot of loud fans and ACs blowing in here when it's hot, so it's nice to be able to drown out that noise. Below the TV, this has nothing to do with the gym. This is just how I charge my truck. Now for dumbbells, I did a lot of research and tried to figure out if I was going to do traditional dumbbells or adjustable dumbbells, and I ultimately ended up going with the Rep quick draws. I've used adjustable dumbbells in the past, and some of them just don't feel right. Some of them are too long, or the grip is like made out of rubber and it just doesn't feel like a real dumbbell. The grip here, see if you can see that. The grip is like full metal knurling, so it is just like a traditional barbell or dumbbell grip. Feels really nice, feels really natural, and it also has these bars on the bottom here, so there's a lot of different ways you can use these. I'd recommend them if you are in the market for adjustable dumbbells. I'm glad I went with these. Now, they only go up to 60 pounds, so if you need more than that, then you might want to get a set of 70s, 80s, 90s, or whatever on the side. That's probably what I'll do in the future, but for now, I go up to 60, and then at that point, I'll just move over to the bench and bench any higher than that. But again, I'm not putting up a ton of weight, so 60-pound chest press, great. And then if I really want to go heavier than that, then I move over to the bench press. When it comes to cardio, I've got cardio outside. I have miles of walking trails in the neighborhood that I live in, so I can go on runs or ride bikes, whatever I want to do out there. It's kind of perfect for that. Maybe eventually I will extend out to the garage door and add like a Peloton or something, but for now, there's really no need to add cardio equipment in here for me. And that pretty much covers the entire setup. Again, this is simple and functional. It's been super awesome to have this space to work out in and honestly just kind of have time to myself. As much as I love going to a gym, there's just something different about being able to be in a space by yourself, listening to music, watching whatever you want to watch, and just getting a workout in. So that's gonna wrap up this video. I hope you found it helpful. I didn't really do anything revolutionary necessarily in this, but hopefully it gave you inspiration for your home gym. If you did find this video helpful, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and say what's up in the comments. Tell me what you like and dislike about this. Please don't comment on my paint job. I already know it's terrible, but I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you all in the next one.